Coming up on Cardinals Insider, Mikolas is mic'd up, and that never disappoints.
I felt it on my chin, but I couldn't find it. Is that growing out of my chin?
Plus, we roll out our second installment of Start, Bench, Cut.
Oh, this is going to be controversial.
And later, Chip Caray goes one-on-one with third base coach Pop Warner.
I've always wanted to be with this organization once I got familiar with it.
Those stories and much more coming up on Cardinals Insider. Welcome to Cardinals Insider. I'm Azie Smith. Have you ever wondered what starting pitchers do when they aren't starting? Apple TV did too, so they put a mic on Mikolas during one of their recent trips here to St. Louis.
Tonight it's about baseball, a rivalry, oldest time. Pliers, come sit. I want to talk all about baseball. All right, it's time for a public airing of my grievances. Why is the dude on first base wearing different socks than everybody else? Wear the same socks. Everyone's in a different uniform, it doesn't look good. Wear the same socks. Unless he's getting paid lots of money to wear whatever polka dot socks those are. They're not the right color. They don't match. It's very natural to find useless reasons to not like people on the other team because you want to have a competitive edge. Someone on their bench is looking at us going, someone in that dugout has a very punchable face. Sometimes I assume it's me and my mustache. They probably want to punch my stupid mustache right off my face. That's probably what they say. What kind of shingles you guys do on your roof? I felt it on my chin, but I couldn't find it. Is that growing out of my chin? Huh, Goldie? Here we go, here we go. Oh, now you've seen it. Huh, 2-1, get it done. Here we go, have some fun. That's new bye. Hey, big series for you. You only hit home runs against Cubs. Stay hot. You can throw any pitch anywhere so long as they don't hit it and get on base. That's why pitching is the best. It's all about results. Hindsight 2020, every time. Fastball away, oops. Missed across the entire plate. Broken bat. Way to get in on him, dude. Way to get in on him. Way to be aggressive. At 36, I'm in the best shape of my life. These are our best uniforms. These are our best uniforms. They gonna catch it? We got he caught it. We got a catch. What's your food window? Like, all right, 7:45 game. How many hours before the game are you like, I cannot eat something? Like, I'm done eating.
No, there's no time.
There is no, it's just whatever you feel like?
I probably can't go more than like 3 hours before.
Okay. Because that's my cutoff is 3 hours.
I gotta eat something inside that 3 hours.
I try to eat a big meal 3 hours out, and then I don't wanna, I wanna be like more of an empty stomach. You're like my dog. If my dog doesn't eat anything, she gets like an upset stomach, like too much stomach acid. We have to give her Tums or like a Pepsid. I got the double cheeseburger 3 hours before. Wash it down with the big sugary Doritos. All right, hope they got what they needed. I'm out. Come back, we'll talk politics and religion.
Start, Bench, Cut is a simple game that can unearth some startling opinions. The premise is simple. Rank something using a good, better, or best format. Let's see if your opinions match those of your favorite players.
This is a segment called Start, Bench, Cut.
I like it.
So I'll name 3 topics. It's not going to be your teammates.
Okay, all right, dang it. All right.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars.
Oh, this is going to be controversial.
You gotta start Harry, bench, Lord of the Rings, cut Star Wars.
Start Harry Potter. I read the books. I was the kid in school that people would come to take their AR test for them because I read all the books and they were massive points. And I'm like a watch the movies like once a year person. I'm a Harry Potter nerd. Bench, the Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, I gotta cut it.
Start Star Wars, cut Lord of the Rings. Sorry, you watch Lord of the Rings, I'm so sorry. Bench, Harry Potter.
Start Harry Potter, bench Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. I've never seen an epic, I'll go to my grave. I've never seen an episode of Star Wars in my life, and I'm like, that's like a thing of mine.
Start Lord of the Rings. I watch Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit at least like each one 10 times a year probably. It's like a comfort movie. If I want to watch something and I don't know what to watch, I'm throwing one of those on. Binge Harry Potter and cut Star Wars.
I'm going to start Harry Potter, I'm going to bench Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to cut Star Wars. I was not a big Star Wars fan. I apologize for all my Jabberwockies or whatever they're called, you know. I apologize.
Nuggets, strips, wings.
Ooh, start wings, bench strips, cut nuggets.
Start wings, bench strips, ditch the nuggets.
Nuggets, gotta start them. Wings, bench, strips, cut.
Ooh. Start wings, bench strips, nuggets are out.
Nuggets would be cut. No, strips would be cut, nuggets would be benched, wings would be starting.
Wings is my start. Nuggets is my bench. Actually, I'm gonna go strips on my bench and then nuggets is my cut. Text, call, FaceTime.
Depends who we're talking about.
Ooh, see, that depends on who you're talking to. I'm probably a phone call start, bench, text, and depends on the person, but I'm probably gonna cut the FaceTime.
Start, FaceTime, cut, text, bench, call.
FaceTime, start, text, bench, call, get them out.
I'll get rid of the FaceTime. Well, no, I'll tell you, I'll start the FaceTime because in the season when I'm away from my family, you gotta FaceTime the kids. That's great. That's a great tool to have. And then we'll just get rid of text messaging. We'll just go back to the olden days. Phone calls.
Text, big text guy. I don't like calling, nobody call me.
In the dugout, start, bench, cut, candy, gum, seeds.
Candy, cut, gum, it's like a half and half for me. So I'm gonna say bench and then seeds, start.
Start gum, bench seeds, cut candy.
I will start seeds, I'll bench the gum, and we can get rid of the candy. Candy is candy. Gum and seeds are your traditional dugout snacks. And candy is for Halloween.
Probably start the gum. We have some candies in the dugout. I try to stay away from them, but sometimes they end up in my back pocket and I'm chewing on them in the field. So probably bench the candy, and then I'm not a huge seeds fan, so I'll cut those.
Start gum, bench candy, cut seeds. That's also controversial, but I don't really like it. I mean, you got like the ranch. The ranch ones are good, barbecue are good, but you can't chew them for a full game. You can chew a piece of gum the whole game.
Straight ahead on Cardinals Insider, get to know third base coach Pop Warner.
I'm not doing this just for the paycheck. I want to win. I want to win a World Series.
That's right after the break. Third base coach Ron Pop Warner has a long track record with the Cardinals organization that predates his current position. Chip Caray sat down with Pop to learn more about his baseball career.
Welcome back to Cardinals Insider. Chip Caray with Cardinals third base coach Ron Pop Warner. From Alhambra, California to the University of Wyoming to the St. Louis Cardinals, that's one heck of a baseball journey.
Yeah, it's been fun. It really has been. You know, growing up in California, ended up at the University of Wyoming, and fortunately got drafted by the Cardinals, and here we are.
What did you know of the Cardinals as a kid in California? Were you a Dodger, a Giant guy? Did you know anything about St. Louis at all?
I grew up a Dodger fan, so no, not really. I mean, other than the fact that we always played them, the Dodgers always played the Cardinals, and the Niedenfuer and the Jack Clarks rivalries, and they always got us, it seemed like, in the playoffs. But no, not really. I mean, I didn't even fill out any paperwork for the Cardinals when I got drafted. I had no clue that I was even on their radar.
But here you are.
Here I am.
What an amazing ride. And you're a Cardinal lifer now. What does that mean to you at this stage in your baseball journey?
I've always wanted to be with this organization once I got familiar with it and found out what it was all about. And fortunately, it's been 34 years and I'm still here, and this will be my first and last organization. When they decide it's over for me, I'm going to retire and go home and be a dad and a husband.
Which is an even tougher job than coaching third base, which brings us to my next question. You have one of the most important jobs, one of the most time-consuming jobs with the Cardinals. Tell us about your workday when you get to the ballpark before first pitch at 6:45.
Well, most of my time is consumed by doing the opposing pitcher's running game. I just break down opposing pitchers, times to the plate, tells, just everything, you know, everything. Any little tell we can find on these guys to help us out and gain 90 feet is huge for us. And it's just super time consuming because you have to look at a lot of video. I mean, every single runner on first, 2-0 counts, 3-0 counts, behind the count, ahead in the count, runner at second, do they change with 1 out, 2 outs, it's nobody out. So it's just super time consuming and takes up pretty much all my time other than the other duties that I have.
We talked with Stubby earlier this week, and he said that you're one of the guys that was instrumental in his development as a player and as a coach. I'm sure you'd feel the same about guys like George Kissel, who will never be forgotten in the Cardinal system. What did George Kissel mean to you?
Yeah, the world. I mean, he took me under his wing and taught me how to be a man, how to be accountable in this game, and how to play the game. There's so many little integral parts of this game that people don't understand that you have to take care of before just getting in there and hitting. I mean, there's base running, there's fielding, there's execution situations, bunt plays, cutoffs, and relays. There's just first and third defense. It's just huge. You got to have all that stuff underneath your belt when you go out there and play to be successful. But he taught me that and really drilled it into me. All the other coaches and Rovers and everybody else did the same thing. It's a pretty unique organization that they understand the fundamentals of what carries the organization.
You've won in the minor leagues. Do you think at night what it would be like to have a World Series parade in St. Louis as a member of this coaching staff and this group of Cardinals players?
And that's why we do it. I mean, that's why I do it. I know that for sure. I mean, I'm not doing this just for the paycheck. I want to win. I want to win a World Series. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened for us since I've been here. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal. It'd be super crazy to be going down the streets of St. Louis in a parade. That'd be a dream come true.
Well, hopefully we're both here to enjoy it. Pop, we appreciate you, man. Great job. Thanks. Ron Pop Warner.
Coming up, it was the first of 3 pennants in the 1960s. Learn about the 1964 Cardinals.
The Cardinals won the pennant! The Cardinals won the pennant!
It's been 60 years since the 1964 Cardinals beat the Yankees in 7 games to capture the club's 7th World Championship. Let's look back on that season and the first of 3 pennants from the 1960s.
By the time 1964 came around, the Cardinals had gone nearly 20 years without winning a National League pennant, so the stakes were quite high throughout that magnificent summer turned marvelous fall. Here's a recap of that season, woven together with the radio calls of Harry Caray and the remembrances of pitcher Charlie James, both of those men St. Louis natives. If the 1960s were part of baseball's golden age, the Cardinals were certainly one of baseball's golden teams. A roster stacked with Hall of Fame talent that led to championship results.
The biggest thrill was winning the National League pennant on the very last day of the season. And if you don't do that, you don't get to go to the World Series.
Johnny Keane about to bring the Redbirds their first pennant since 1946. And the Cardinals, 1 pitch. Strike, come on! If you've never heard Mr. Gussie Busch excited, you just heard him over my shoulder. Let's go! Get him out! A high pop ball. The Cardinals there. The Cardinals won the pennant! The Cardinals won the pennant! The Cardinals won the pennant!
It was magnificent. There was so much energy. It was hard to say, and as a player, you just would get so excited about each and every inning and game that you had a chance to play in.
The 1964 Cards were the first of 3 pennant winners and 2 world champs in the decade, downing the Yankees for the first one in October of 1964.
Down Maxville gathers it in. The Cardinals are the new world champions.
The series featured a Boyer brother at third base for each team, Cleat for the Yankees, Ken for the Cardinals. But it was Ken who had the biggest hit of the Fall Classic.
There's a drive way back. It might be. It could be. It is a home run. Listen to the crowd.
The game-winning Game 4 Grand Slam propelled St. Louis into a 7-game series victory. Boyer played on a roster filled with players who became not just Cardinals legends, but baseball legends. Names like Bill White, Curt Flood, Tim McCarver, and Bob Gibson. Then on June 15th, the Cardinals set out to make the club even better, sending a package headlined by pitcher Ernie Broglio, who'd won 18 games the year prior, to the rival Cubs for a player who the Northsiders couldn't really get to tap what they thought was his full power hitting potential. The Cardinals took a different route with Lou Brock, telling him to run wild. He stole 33 bases the rest of the way that year and 855 more over the following 15 seasons. It is perhaps the signature transaction in 1964, and for that matter, franchise history. And you could even argue that it brought in the final piece in what became a baseball dynasty. For Cardinals Insider, I'm Brett McMillan.
It's time for our trivia question. Recently, the Cardinals shifted their official year of establishment. What year do we now recognize as the start of Cardinals history? Was it 1872, 1882, 1892, or 1902? The answer when we return. We're back with the answer to this week's trivia question, which has to do with the franchise's origins.
This week's trivia question is brought to you by the Palm Beaches, Florida's most stylish vacation destination. We're going all the way back to the beginning this week. What year did the Cardinals consider to be their founding? The answer is 1882. The St. Louis Brown Stockings were a semi-professional barnstorming team in the 1870s. They became a charter member of the American Association of Baseball Clubs, an early rival to the National League, in November of 1881, after being purchased a few years earlier by eccentric entrepreneur Chris Von der Eye. Von der Eye took the team from a semi-pro to a fully professional operation and shortened the name from Brown Stockings to Browns. In May of 1882, the inaugural American Association season opened, and the soon-to-be renamed Brown Stockings beat the Louisville Eclipse 9-7 at a freshly rebuilt Grand Avenue Park, renamed Sportsman's Park, for the 1882 season, and the team had its professional start. The Browns won 4 consecutive league titles from 1885 to 1888, led by Pioneer manager and future Hall of Famer Charles Comiskey. These pennants qualified them to play against the National League in the predecessor to today's World Series. 2 of those were played against the Chicago White Stockings, who would go on to become the Chicago Cubs, laying the foundation for one of baseball's best rivalries. For Cardinals Insider, I'm Travis Hawkins.
When we return, I'm answering one of your questions. It's Ask Azie, and it's up next. It's time for this week's Ask Azie. Chris in Mississippi asks, what is the biggest challenge playing a night game versus a day game? Well, Chris, of course, the lighting. One of the things that I found, and one of the things that I think changed the game, was the implementation of the black bat. The black bat, sometimes as a defensive player, you try and follow, you follow the flight of the line of the bat. And so at night, when lights, if the lights are dim or not bright enough, or they use some of the lights in New York, it was always tough to follow the black bat. George Foster was one of those guys who used a black bat, and I found it very hard to follow that at night because you couldn't see it because of the color of the bat. I didn't have a favorite. I think that as kids growing up, we always played in the daylight, you know, so that's what we were accustomed to. But in the big leagues, you know, they have a lot more night games and stuff, and so you just try and take advantage of that. Try and get more rest. Thanks for the question, Chris. If you want to submit a question, head on over to cardinals.com/insider and click the Ask Azie tab. But for now, don't go anywhere. There's more Cardinal Insider right after the break. Willson Contreras plays the game with energy and passion. He wears his emotions on his sleeves and isn't afraid to get the dugout and the crowd going. For those reasons, Willson is the subject of this week's Redbird Reels.
This is an exciting moment right here for Willson Contreras. This is where he wanted to be, picturing himself in this uniform. And he gets his first hit as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Contreras' throw is on the money.
And welcome to St. Louis, Willson Contreras. Listen to this crowd.
Swing and a high, towering fly ball to left. This is a no-doubter, a long shot into Big Mac land. He's going, good job. The throw to second is on
the money. They got it.
Contreras is fired up. One of the best players in the league. Gotcha.
On the ground, and welcome back to Chicago. And look at Contreras. Say boomy some more. I love this so much. Playing the villain. First game back at Wrigley. Then bring it on. Line drive, belts it to left. Wood turns, it's gone. Contreras hits a big home run. Well hit. It's Caray. It is gone. Contreras has been fired up all game long, and the crowd here at Busch Stadium still on their feet. A curtain call.
That's it for this episode. You can always catch us online at cardinals.com/insider or watch full episodes on YouTube. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you right back here next week.